Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian. And unfortunately, today Kevin Mulder is traveling. He's headed back to Creekside for another event. We will work to catch up with him next week. He's got a lot of great stuff happening, and so we'll be looking forward to talking with him next week on what's happening with PBR Missouri. But you got us. Powered by Game 7, Red Earth Productions. Hey, look, if you're looking for a video to highlight your team, right? It's tryout time, right?
Yes, sir.
Red Earth Productions, we can do it for you. This is what we do. We do a lot of sports. If you're looking to promote your club, whatnot, please give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about what we can do to help you showcase what you do. Exactly. And that's what we do around here. So, 636-400-3199. That's our office number. Give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I look good.
Well, that's given. That's every day. But how do you feel, Ryan? That's the question.
I feel good, too, man. The sun's shining. It's baseball season. You just got back from a big tournament down south.
Yeah. I was down in Hoover, Alabama for a PG Elite Invite event. So it was good. Yeah. 17U event.
What do you got on tap?
We've got a couple teams right now in Atlanta for the Perfect Game WWBA. We've got a couple teams in Hoover for the 14U WWBA. And we have the PBR 17U National Championship next week, which we have a couple teams in. So
it's kind of different, isn't it, with the high school? I mean, it seems like, the older kids are kind of rolling still and whatnot, where the younger kids are kind of slowing down. I know we just finished the Game 7 World Series event, but even the other ones like USSSA, although they're kind of slowing down at this time, yes?
Yeah, you have 4th of July is kind of almost the stopping point, and then you add a couple if you get rained out early. The southern teams normally around this time, they finish their spring season, then start their fall season. So it just depends. But yeah, it's high schools. They got about 3 weeks left, 4 depending on what you're doing, but about 3 weeks left. So you get all the big events now going on with the 17U WWBA and the PBR 17U National Championship.
Because everything's kind of wrapping up. You're probably just a couple weeks away from spring, or I guess it would not spring, but summer football. The 2 weeks.
Yeah.
School starts in August now, like 18th or something. So, you're not maybe a couple, but a few weeks.
Right now, you finish up your season, and then you start to plan for fall for your high school guys. For us specifically, we go to Jupiter. We get an automatic invite to Jupiter, so we'll be there. And then some people go to Fort Myers, which is an open event. And then those are Perfect Game. And then PBR's got a couple of big events as well at Lake Point in Atlanta. Perfect Game's got a really good one in Iowa, too. So, fall's pretty big. If you want it to be.
It just depends on what you do. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Folks, we're going to talk a little bit today. It is tryout season. You've probably seen the, social media light up with everybody, the tryouts, the dates. And I think it's interesting. There was a comment made on the show from yesterday about, how come tryouts start so early and to keep going earlier? And I remember this, and this is just my perspective, and this is the way I answered him. I think it started, everybody was trying to get the drop on the next club, maybe start theirs a little earlier. And I think the gamers always had theirs around mid-July. And I think they've always had it pretty much in the same place. And I remember teams starting earlier and earlier to try and get a jump on some of that. And I think it just kind of stayed in that vein.
Yeah, normally after 4th of July is when they start to hit. You can have them whenever you want.
Right.
But at the same time, it's If you're early, that can be good. It could not be good because there's other kids still playing. They don't want to try out yet. There's so many different ways to do it, but everybody's different.
There you go.
And you can say, hey, tournament directors have asked in the past, you guys should all do your tryouts, in August when everything's done. Okay, who's going to agree to that? Because then somebody's not going to do it, and
then they go, hey, why not? And that's the thing. There's not a lot of consensus in some of these things amongst the directors.
Well, no, but tryouts are what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's 5,000 tryouts in the St. Louis area.
And that doesn't mean if you go and try out for 4 different teams and you get a couple of offers and people say, hey, we want to come, that means you can decide where you want to go play. I mean,
yeah.
You don't have to say, oh, I'm going to take this. Go try out over there. It's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with those things. But in the scope of what we're doing and what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, and I think this is a very important subject because we talk about AA, AAA major. And in the scope of things, Matt, when you're talking about what you guys are doing right here, when we talk about recruiting, PBR, and things like that, I've always believed that much of the AA, AAA major classifications are built mainly to try and help tournament directors create a competitive playing field. Agreed?
I would agree with you on that. Yeah.
And so how do parents evaluate this scenario, and where do we go with this? And how do parents understand when they're taking their kids to a tryout? What do you see in these things? What's your experience?
Well, so there's so many different avenues with this.
Let's pick one.
Let's try to stick to one section of this. A parent, as a parent, if I take my kid to tryouts, the parent should know where the kid stands athletically, skill-wise. If they don't, they need somebody else that they trust to let them know. But you should know, where have you been playing? What level have you been playing at?
Right.
Are you playing at AAA and you're batting last and you're barely playing and you only have 4 hits on the season? Then maybe you need to bring it down a little bit and play at your level. The parents need to be realistic, which is very similar to parents when it comes to recruiting from colleges. Mm-hmm. You have to be realistic about where your kid is. There's thousands, if not millions of kids that at 12, 13, 11, 14 are AA kids that hit a growth spurt. They have a good work ethic. By the time they get to high school, maybe 16U, they're late bloomers. Yeah. And they're getting offers all over the place. And you know what? When they look back, they don't give 2 craps about what happened at 12, 13 years old. They don't. But they've been playing at the level that they need to play at because that's where they're at. And that's where either you're going to get the competition that suits you at that time, or you're going to go play up or play down, and you're either going to be not good enough for up or you're too good for down. So it's the prestige of, I'm on a AAA team. Or it's the prestige of my kid committed at 15 years old or 16 years old. Right. The parents need to get out of the way when it comes to a lot of these things. It's easier said than done. I have kids. I understand the concept. But it's being realistic with the situation of where your talent level is for your child and putting them at that level. At 12, 13, when you're 17, you look back and realize 12, 13 didn't mean crap. Like it literally didn't mean crap.
No, it's playing baseball to
100%.
enjoy it.
You're playing baseball, you're learning baseball, you're getting better, you're playing at the level that you belong at.
We've had this conversation, Matt, and I believe this very much. You start in, machine pitch, you're 4 or 5, whatever the case may be, 5 and 6. You're doing machine pitch and the kids are out there, wins the snow cone. I love that stuff. Personally, I do. I think it's just fun. Just enjoy the time. Don't be out there yelling and screaming. Watch the kids have some fun. There'll be plenty enough time for competitiveness. 9, 10, 11, even to 12. It's the same thought process. Find where your child is having success.
Yes.
They're growing, right? As an athlete. Leave them there. Let them grow. Let them be smart enough as a parent to let them have that place where they feel confident, they're having success, they're still growing, they're getting better as an athlete. And as you said, once they get to that 13, 14 high school range, you don't know what'll happen. Maybe they just go, no, I don't want to play anymore.
That happens a lot.
Right?
That happens a lot. But it's knowing that at 12, 11, 13, whatever, that you have to be with a team or with a coach or with an organization that, for one, you enjoy, two, they're learning something.
Right.
Right? They're learning something. They're getting better.
Yes.
So that's the kicker for
and when we talk
that
about
age.
And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to be a broken record and beat a dead horse and all of those things, all those cliches. I really don't. That doesn't bother me. I don't believe that parents are the problem. I don't believe that coaches are the problem. I don't believe that clubs are the problem. I believe that we have certain folks, certain situations that become problems. Parents can become a problem. Coaches can become a problem. Clubs can become a problem. It's just up to us as adults not to be the problem, but to be part of the solution, understanding the situation, understanding these things, paying attention to what's happening. And I think this is something I've said before. You may go to a club that you don't like the people or whatnot, whatever the case may be, then get out of there. Go find there's other clubs, there's other places, there's quality people across the landscape. Am I wrong?
No, I could probably name 20 in the 10 seconds sitting here.
Right?
So that's just in St. Louis.
Exactly. You're going to, and there are guys, there are coaches that everybody goes, wow, why is that guy coaching? I don't know. But there you go. It happens.
Yeah. You can point the finger to anybody, right? But every situation's different. Every person's different. Mm-hmm. It depends who matches. I mean, you talk to 20 people, ask 20 people about one random club, and you could get 15 that love it, 5 that don't. You could get 10 that love it, 10 that don't. Then you go to 20 other people, and all 20 could love it. You go to another 20, all 20 could hate it. It just depends. But it's like that all over the place. But the thing that happens, like we're talking about tryouts, AA, AAA.
Sure.
So when you get into this time of year, and you've got kids that are AA, and they want to play AAA, if they're one of the better kids on a AA team, and they want to play AAA. There's, you go to a tryout and you can say, okay, well, look, we have 1 or 2 AAA teams, and we've already picked up the 1 or 2 kids that they're picking up. They're full, but our top AA team has a spot. You want on that? Well, I can go play on, Joe's Crab Shack's AAA team because they made me an offer, so I'm going to go play on their team. Years go by, and you see that kid again.
Yeah. And he's in the same place.
He's in the exact same situation.
Yep.
And
exactly.
You see it all the time. When you've been doing this long enough, you see it. And I feel bad for the kid.
Yes.
Like 100%.
Because that's the parent's decision.
I feel terrible for the kid because the kid could have been put in a good situation. You could have been successful. You would have had fun. And you probably would have made a AAA team by the time was all said and done. But you're coming back and you look like the exact same kid, except for you're 2 years older.
Right.
And now you definitely don't belong on those teams.
Right.
So, there's so many situations. There's so many things. Now, taking a kid that is, you have to say, okay, what is a AA kid? What is a AAA kid? What is a single A kid? However you want to label it, right?
Right. And again, going back to, don't lose your thought. Going back to this, remember, folks, we're talking about a lot of this AA, AAA, major stuff, I believe is classifications to help tournament directors.
Well, yes, 100%, because nobody wants to. Okay, back when we played, it was you got thrown into a freaking pool, and you hope that you didn't get a bad draw. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. You get into these tournaments that have 50 teams in a local tournament. It was awesome. It was so much fun. And you played teams, you knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody, right?
Right.
And if you played, but there weren't as many teams. But if you played a team that you knew was really good in your pool, got to throw our best arm and hope we win because we got to get out of our pool if we want to go play in the bracket.
Right. Exactly.
And you played your 3 games and you were done.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then you had your league game on Tuesday. I mean, that's what it was. Now it's 4-game guarantee. It's 3-game guarantee. It's whatever, just so everybody gets equal amount of games. At least everybody gets their 3 or 4 games. If you go further, then you get your 5, whatever, 6, depending. But it's a different world. It's a different ball game. But it's the AAA is. You don't want AAA teams playing AA. You don't want AA teams playing AAA. Except there's AA teams that can beat AAA teams with one kid.
Yes.
If that kid is on the mound, he can beat probably anybody. That's where a AA team can beat a AAA team.
Exactly.
In my mind.
It's a fact. When you talk about, I'm going to bring this up because I've thought about this question and we've kind of been around it in other conversations throughout the last couple weeks. And I think this is a question that's popped up. What determines this? And I think there's a lot of confusion in this. I have a AA player. What does a AA player mean? Is there a measurable? And I don't know. See, and there's a whole nother can of worms, right? Because at the next level, when you start talking about 14U, 15U, 16U, you're going to these PBR events, going to perfect game events.
Well, when you get to 15, 16, when you get to high school, you take out the AA, AAA.
I know that. I understand. Yeah. But they have the measurables. You have your velocity and whatnot. I don't know that you can have those types of measurables with an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old. I mean, because it's Mutt and Jeff.
Well, okay, I mean,
right?
I mean, that's just
that's just a whole
difference between AA and AAA kids in general. AAA kids offer something. Either they're really fast, they have a really good arm, they can move, they're really good defensively in the outfield or in the infield, and for the most part, they are competitive with their at bats.
Right.
They take competitive ABs, they're hard outs. You watch a kid play catch, and literally after 3 minutes of somebody playing catch, you can figure out where you think he belongs.
Interesting.
I mean, it's especially at 12, 13, 14, 11. I mean, if a kid has a good arm playing catch, if he can move to the ball when it's thrown to him, I mean, you're watching him move, you're watching him throw, you're watching him catch, you're watching him do the variables of baseball and simple playing catch.
You know,
then you watch him later to see what he looks like,
and I think this is an interesting thought process. If this is something I've thought about, and as I wanted to say this after you said what you said. We have tryouts, right? And we send these kids out, these 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, into this format of a high school college tryout.
You're throwing them off the deep end, basically.
Yeah,
what you're doing.
You're throwing them the ground balls. You're doing this, and it's the same thing. You're measuring arm speed. We're doing these things with these kids, right? I think it would be. This is my opinion only. I think it would be a much better situation. Now, sometimes you don't. Yeah, it's tough because how many kids you have, but can you put these kids into a game situation? Put them out on the field, play a baseball game. I want to see how this 9-year-old plays the game, where his focus is, if the ball's hit to him. Tough thing is he might not get the ball hit to him. There you have it. And these are the difficulties we have in, I think, some of these situations. But that's just my thought process.
So if you have the time to do it, that's great. But a lot of times when you're running tryouts, 2 hours go by, and it's like, okay, we're done. You know what I mean? Like you've seen what you want to see.
Right.
But the other thing is, when as a coach, so if I coach, let's say I coach a 9U team, I know who I'm playing against. I know who's good. I know who the better teams are. I know who the better kids are. And normally somebody catch wind that, hey, so-and-so is playing on a team. Because at 9U, you really don't. I mean, you have AA, AAA, but at the beginning of the year, you have no idea. Right? So they're all kind of lumped together until you get halfway through. And then the tournament guy's like, hey, you guys need to go down and play with them, or you guys need to play with this group because of your record that you've had with us. Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm coaching a 9U team, and there's 3 kids from Joe's Crab Shack that is, wants to play at the higher level because they're having a bad season, but they're 3 good kids. I've seen this team play. I've seen these kids play in a game. Those kids aren't trying out. Why would they? I've already know what they can do, right?
That's a fair assessment, right?
So you take those kids.
Right. That's a fair assessment. I think that happens more times than not, right?
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. When you, as a coach, you know who's good. You know the players. You know everything. You know the level they're playing at. So you don't need to try out to see those kids.
Right. Okay. I think it's great to get all these different perspectives, and this is what's
that
interesting
happens all
to
the
me.
time, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody, everywhere, all the time. I don't care if you're in St. Louis, Dallas, Mississippi, Minnesota. If you're good, good players most likely have 3 or 4 offers to go wherever they want.
Folks, I think the best thing that we can do with these things, and I think this comes back down to what we said, it just is parents doing the right things by their kids, understanding what kind of player they have, and get honest. Take the opinions of the coach. Don't say that coach is just trying to be mean. Don't do that. Listen, pay attention, understand where the competitiveness is. And I think it's tough because I don't know sometimes how much some of these people have seen baseball outside of maybe a local tournament.
Right. But I mean, okay, I'll give you an example.
Because we're just trying to help parents make good decisions.
So you take a parent that has a kid that's, let's say he's 17 years old. They have a younger kid that's 12.
Right.
That parent has a completely different point of view for their 12-year-old than they did with the 17-year-old when he was 12.
Amen to that.
Right?
Right.
Because they've gone through it. They realize, hey, 17U, 16U, it's a little more intense for my kid because this is what he wants to do. He wants to go to school to play baseball.
Yeah.
My 12-year-old needs to learn to get better.
Yeah.
I don't need to walk around saying I'm playing AAA. I don't need to walk around saying that we won all these local tournaments, blah, blah, blah. It's really, really funny seeing the drastic difference with parents that have an older one and have gone through it, and then you're watching them take their younger one through it.
Yeah. And you've seen a little bit of baseball, right?
I've seen baseball all across this country in different avenues of this country that I've lived coaching baseball. And it's pretty similar everywhere.
There you go. No,
talent-wise, it's not.
I want to...
Year-round, it's not.
Right.
But the whole concept of what we're talking about it's the same everywhere.
Matt's going to be out of town next week, heading down to the event, as we said before. We need to get back. We started this. We haven't really done too much or talked about it, but I want to get back and talk a little bit about some of these 14U teams. We saw a really good, and one that we hadn't talked about much, but last week in the Game 7 World Series, and I've just seen them play really good 14U teams. I mean, these are really good 14U teams, but that Illinois Gators team, Chiaroto, I think is his coach's name. That's a good baseball team, man. They've got some good kids on that squad. Yeah,
that's a really good baseball team. I would say they're probably, at 14U right now, top 3.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a game with them and a couple other people.
I'd like to see them play the Dynamite. I really would.
Yeah.
Because, I still think clearly they're at the top of the heap in the state, the St. Louis Dynamite.
Well, Illinois Gators aren't in the state, but I think in the area.
You're right. In the area, my fault.
I would say that the Dynamite and the Gators would be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree.
If you match up 1 versus 1.
Right.
It depends, if you're going to play a tournament, depends who's left, what's going on. But yeah, if you match up 1 versus 1. But I mean, right now you have down in Hoover the 14U WWBA. So there's a couple St. Louis-based teams down there right now playing, which I'll be curious to see how they match up against some of the big dogs across the country.
Some of those national groups. Yeah. That'd be and we do follow that. And I've been paying attention to that. I want to see I'm looking forward to watching, and I'm going to continue to follow this. I hope they stay together, and I believe they will, but that Midwest Mavericks team, that 12U down there in Springfield, this one kid, and he stands out, and then they have I think his name's Gavin Thompson, and there's a couple other kids on that are really good. I mean, the last time I saw this, I believe his name's Jeremiah Jones. He goes by JJ Zeros on Instagram. He's hit He's hit 16 home runs, dude.
Well, that's impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
Where are they playing at? Do you know?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
They're playing national events.
Well, good.
And they're usually in the top 4, winning, finishing second. They're a legit baseball team, and that's the difference, I think. See, and we say AAA major. I mean, okay, great, yeah, but they're a major team because they need to go to those events to play teams that.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between a major team in Missouri and a major team in Texas.
Agreed.
Which is why they need to go do that, because if they're beating up on everybody in town because they're just that much better, then yeah.
Right.
And it opens their eyes to what's out there and how they really stand compared to everybody.
We hope that people, we welcome your comments. We know we're saying these things because we want to help people make good decisions. And the more we talk about it, I believe the more we get opportunities to bring this stuff to bear. We'll be back next week with Kevin Mulder. We'll be back in a couple weeks with Matt. Maybe we'll get you back in the show next week, too, from down in Georgia. We'll see what we can get done here.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Hey, you know what? And maybe we'll get some of those dudes, some of your big dudes, some of the big honchos on the show, right? Give them some love, give them some pub. We'll see. But hey, folks, we appreciate you joining us. Always, these are opinions, this stuff we talk about. It's not meant to be offensive or anything like. We're just talking baseball. We're talking these things from experience, and hopefully it helps the whole area grow, get better. We understand what we're trying to do, how we're trying to help our kids improve, because remember, most of these kids will come back to these communities in some other capacity other than a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah. Right? I would say majority of them.
So I think it's very important how we progress through these things. Agreed?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is when you're done, it's how do you give back to the game that gave you so much.
Exactly, man.
Exactly.
So all you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and you hitters,
hit them where they ain't.
Good advice. Folks, we'll see you next time.